It's Saturday night, and you know what that means. It's time to rock with the Classic Metal Show, and this is Neeley rocking with you. Kicking off the show tonight, we heard our good friends from the band Red Rain with their self-titled song Red Rain, and we heard something there from Bombay Black with Get Mad, Get Even, and a guy that knows all about that, a guy who packs the judge as well as other weaponry, my good friend and partner, Chris Aiken. What's going on, Chris?
What is up, sir? How are we?
Well, I figured that Get Mad, Get Even would probably get you pumped for the show.
Well, I have nothing but attitude tonight, I guess. I honestly, if I didn't know that we weren't taking a week off in a couple of weeks, I probably would have said, fuck it. I'm just not in a great mood. But.
Just not in a great mood. What's happening with you this week? I haven't really conversed much with you. We did trade a few texts about the Anthony and Artie show, or Artie
Sure.
and Anthony show, or whatever they're calling it, the A&A show.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I really haven't had a whole lot of contact with you.
I've just been working. I mean, I've been really 18 hours, 19, 20 hours a day this week. I kicked it into overdrive, because I've got a lot of projects I got to get done. And like a bunch of new shit that's getting ready to start, so I got to get it done now. And between that and running back and forth to the hospital with my kid for his appointments and whatnot, it's been just nothing but work and hobbling because my fucking knee is still fucked up. So that's always fun when every time you try to stand up, you're fucking either leaning on a wall or a couch or something, or walking with a cane like you're 150 years old.
Right.
So, needless to say, that puts you in a great fucking mood.
Yeah. Well, I kind of experienced a little bit of hampering this week. I sprained my foot last week, and it kind of kept me hobbling around too. And I was thinking, this isn't anywhere close to what you're dealing with, but nevertheless, it does kind of grate on you.
Dude, you know what? I say this all the time because people say that to me more about the burn thing. They always say to me, I can't even relate to, blah, blah, blah. I'm a big believer in this. If it fucking hurts, it's all the same. Pain is fucking pain.
Right.
If you and I both can't walk, your foot ain't no worse than my knee. Maybe from a doctor standpoint it's worse, but I would imagine that both of us right about now, when we try to take a step, are feeling every single ounce of ouch.
Right.
Just pain fucking sucks.
It
man.
does. Absolutely. Especially when it wakes you up at night, you're sound asleep, and all of a sudden you just wake up because you're throbbing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. And then you got to get up and, man, I hope a couple of Advil or something will calm this down a little bit.
Yeah, or even just the getting up. I don't know where you're at with your foot, but just the getting up part for me is a bitch.
Yeah.
Getting up and then, hobbling down the fucking hallway, trying to I'm wearing this fucking knee brace, which is 20 fucking pounds of metal.
Right.
Holding everything in place. So it's, get up, you start taking that first step and you feel it and you feel like you're going to fall down. And it's like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just sit here and piss the bed?
You got to keep one of those big red Solo cups on the nightstand.
Dude, I really do need one because I'm telling you that 5:30 in the morning, that's been the other thing this week, has been waking up because my goddamn knee hurts just late enough to where it doesn't make any sense to go back to sleep.
Right.
Every day this week, it's been waking up at like 5:45, where it's a little bit early to get started, but I'm not going to go back to sleep, or I'll sleep till 9.
Right.
And then somebody's waking me up for a phone call I'm missing or something. So, it's like, fuck. So it's been one of them weeks. No sleep, fucking leg hurting. And working like an idiot. I've been working nonstop I built, I think, 3 websites this week and was doing all my social media horse shit. And I recorded several chapters of the audiobook for the Motley thing and edited all that stuff up and worked on the artwork for the Motley thing. And just nonstop, man. It was definitely a go week for sure.
Sure. Now, you did make a trip over to the Pinball Palace last Sunday, right?
I did. I went over there on Sunday for a few hours. Went over, had a decent time. I mean, as much as I could. Again, hobbled like a motherfucker. So it was.
They didn't have a wheelchair to greet you at the door.
No. I got a funny story to tell though in a second though about the Pinball Palace. This happened today actually. No, I went. I took my friend Kelly with me, and we went, and I played a couple games with her, and then literally gathered Ed and people around, and we had more. It was more like a business meeting than anything.
Sure.
Else. It was, because I hadn't been there in a long time.
Right.
So we went. Nice picture.
Yeah, Phil Lou's got my photo in there.
Yeah, there it is. But no, we went over there and had a good time, and then had a really nice dinner after. So all good. It was fun, but I didn't play a lot of games. I played like 3, maybe 4 games, and I was like, all right, time to get off this fucking leg.
Sure. Now did Kelly get to play the Galaga machines?
Oh yeah, I think she played all 3 that we have.
Yeah.
So she's a big Galaga person.
Sure.
She likes that Galaga. Everybody seems to like the Galaga.
Well, I'm a big fan of that as well. That's definitely my favorite video game.
Yeah, well, if and when the Pinball Palace eventually does crash and burn, I'm taking me a Galaga machine.
Well, we'll put my name on one, will you?
Right.
That'll go good in the CMS studio, a Galaga machine.
The irony of the whole thing is that's actually such a common machine. That's like such a cheap machine.
Right.
By comparison, and games that you wouldn't even think of, B-list pinball machines are like $6,000.
Right.
But a Galaga, you can find a Galaga for like $300.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were that cheap.
If you know where to look, and you're willing to deal with, a little bit of body bang,
Sure.
If you're willing to deal with that, you can get them for $300, $400, $500 at the most.
Nice.
So yeah, they're out there.
And did you see the Evel Knievel pinball machine?
I actually didn't look for it. To be honest, it's down the what I call the slow aisle that I don't generally play, which is all the older pinball machines.
Right.
And I did not. There wasn't a lot of wandering around for me.
I don't imagine.
I got there and I pointed Kelly in the right direction to the machine she wanted to play, and then our guy Sean took her on a tour of the facility, and I found a chair.
I imagine you did.
Dude, it's a weird thing. It's I don't get any enjoyment out of it because it's mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's for everybody else. They go there and they're like, "Holy shit, look at this! This is fucking awesome." And I go there and I'm like, "There's $3,000. There's $1,500. Look at this fucking machine not being played, but I'm paying this electric bill." That's what I look at, and I think of it only in terms of that $12,000 a month I'm spending, and it's like, oh, why am I sitting here just watching money drain out of my fucking pocket?
Right. Very nice.
You can tell I'm very pro everything tonight. Can you tell?
Yeah. Well, I like the negativity sometimes because it does sort of spur you on.
Yeah, it does. But I got to tell you this funny fucking phone call I had though today from the museum. So we get calls for every goddamn thing under the sun. So some guy calls me today and says, do you guys have stools for every game? And I said, no, we don't do stools. He's like, well, you guys need to do stools. And I was like, why?
He's telling you what you need to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I said, really? Why? And he's like, well, I was planning on coming down there with my friend, and my friend's about 400 pounds, and he can't fucking stand in front of the machine.
And this is your problem?
Yeah, well, and he's going on and on about his fat friend. And I listened to him for a little while, and I tried to be courteous for a while, and then I just lost it with this guy. Probably killed myself a sale for tomorrow, but whatever. Because I literally said to him, I said, you know what, dude? I'm fucking 400 pounds, and I can stand in front of him, and I own all of them. So if I can do it, so can your friend.
Right.
And then I clicked off.
Nice.
It's like, fuck you. Don't stop being so fucking enabling, you bitch.
That's exactly what it is, too.
Yeah, you know what? If he can't stand for 2 fucking hours, then get off the floor for 5 fucking minutes and sit down and then get back up and play some more.
Right. Look at Steve Jackson. No stools, no play, man.
Yeah, man. I was just like, come on, dude, really?
You need to have stools.
You can't walk around for 2 fucking hours? I'm a big fat tub of shit, and I can walk around for 2 fucking hours.
Right.
If I can't, I'll sit down.
Sure. Like bring your own stool.
No, don't bring your own stool. We don't do stools, because if his fat ass falls off the stool, then I'm responsible.
Right.
Stand in front of the machine. That's it.
Or don't come to my place.
Yeah, if you can't stand, stay out.
Sure.
Sit in your car. Whatever. Like I'm ripping him off or something because I'm not gearing the fucking place to him. Fuck you.
Right.
I don't have to gear it to you.
Well,
I want.
But you see that's our society now. Everything is geared toward whatever your issue is now.
Yeah.
Instead of you adapting, everybody has to adapt to you.
Yeah. Dude, it would surprise me none if by Tuesday I get a call from some newspaper saying that I'm not fat friendly. And I'll be like, look, I'm the most fat friendly fucker in here.
Right. If you're fat, I'm your friend. Now give me your $20.
Yeah. Give me your $20 and that's it. I can't stand fucking people. And more, but to come at me with a fat complaint, no. That's the last thing in the world I'm ever going to accept because I'm a fat bag of shit too. And if I can do it, you can do it. And if you can't, sucks to be you. Get a wheelchair, fatty.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, pal. Hail and kill caller, you're on the air.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Bob Nalbandian. What's happening?
You get it right away now. Very impressive.
Yeah,
Very
impressive.
Bob,
you're near and dear to my heart as a good friend, and I admire your abilities as a documentarian.
Well, I appreciate that. Maybe you could help me in this situation because I'm a little bit perplexed.
Okay. Do you need a stool to play a pinball machine?
I do. I might need a stool because I might fall off, and if I do, I'll sue the pinball place.
Right.
So you know. But how long has the CMS been together or been around again?
Well, it's almost 22 years.
Wow. And you and Chris have been doing it for how long?
Chris joined me full time in 2005, and then he took a 2.5-year hiatus, and now he's back.
That's a long time. So you get a lot of solicitations. I'm sure every day all the labels are hitting you up with their new product. They want you to promote. Yeah. They want you to do interviews, like hundreds of them a week, I imagine, huh?
Well, I don't know that it ranges in the hundreds. I don't see all the emails. I get a fair share, but Chris pretty much handles most of that.
It's easily 100 a week.
There you go. And you deal with a ton of publicists all the time. Yep. Record labels, pretty much every record label that deals in hard rock, metal music, I imagine, cater to you.
Yep.
And artists, how many artists would you say you've interviewed over the years?
I would say for me, it's got to be 3,000-4,000.
And I mean, I'm sure with all the artists, you've had black, white, Latino, Jewish, homosexuals.
Just you, Bob.
Women?
Just you.
Just me. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. But I did know you've had Rob Halford on. You're a huge supporter of Rob Halford and Judas Priest. I know they're one of your favorite bands. You talk about them all the time.
And we've had transgender. We had Marcy Free on here at one point.
There you go, Trev. We'll add that to the list. And of course, I know Neeley, you're a huge fan of Metal Church. You're always promoting Metal Church, getting them on the show and talking about them all the time. So maybe you could help me here.
Okay. How could the classic metal show way down on the metal rung of the ladder help someone in the upper echelon?
Well, apparently, if you're associated with the classic metal show, so I've been told, in any way, or listen to the classic metal show, you are a Nazi racist and a homophobe and all that. And that's what my understanding is from a lot of people. They're telling me this. So I'm kind of perplexed. So, I mean, obviously you've had Rob Halford on your show. many times. I know you've interviewed him. So, I mean, does that make Rob Halford a homophobe? Does that make a lot of the Jewish and the black artists and people you've catered to, does that make them Nazis? I'm perplexed here.
Well, where have you heard this rumor? Who's made this proclamation to you that told you that?
Well, listen, Neeley, I think it's not any news to you. I mean, just go on your YouTube page and you'll see many people mentioning that. And I've been told that since I get involved with the show that I'm also a Nazi. So I'm thinking if I'm involved and all these artists and publicists and journalists, I know you get love, you get news stories all the time in Blabbermouth and Brave Words and all that. So this is like half the music industry. So if I'm a homophobe for listening to you guys, for calling into the show, I guess half the music industry is Nazi, racist, homophobes. Is that would that be correct?
Well, Bob, you do have a shaved head, and so does Toby. So that might lead people to think that you're white supremacist in some way.
That could be. Listen, people, it's fucking comedy, okay? If you don't get that, if you have all these artists that have been on your show, hundreds of artists. You had Doro Pesh on your show after Chris did the whole Nazi routine with her years ago. She was very upset, in which she should be. If I was her, I would not associate you forever. But even Doro come back to the show because she understands it's comedy. If all these people understand this, what makes people associated with the show homophobic and Nazis and racist? I mean, it's just kind of perplexing to me.
Dude, it's really the greater culture. It's the greater culture that you're not supposed to say anything that's not all encompassing of nice. And if you do, then that puts you into the label. And since for years, for the last 10 years, I would say, in the Obama times, everybody was a racist. You were a racist. And then toward the end, you were a bigot. But ultimately, those of us that don't give a shit what people say, they keep trying to escalate the word until we're offended or until we react to it. And honestly, we don't care.
Well, you know what, dude? I'm fucking with you. I obviously know. I love the show. I stand behind the show. You know that.
Sure.
And again, it's comedy, it's entertainment. Now, to be honest, there's a lot of stuff about your show I do not like, I do not agree with. But if I don't, I turn it off or I don't listen, But I like your stories. I like a lot of the stuff you do. I'm totally into freedom of speech, the First Amendment. I mean, it is freedom of speech. But, I do have opinions about the show, which I'll share with you as being friends. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I'm not telling you how to run your show or anything. Mm-hmm. Why do you guys insist on using the terms nigger on your show? Because in let me say this, and you could disagree or agree. I don't, it really dumbs down the show, to be honest with you. Not only does it dumb down the show, it just cheapens the whole show because you have some very, very profound debates and conversations dealing with race, dealing with politics, and very intellectual. And you allow a lot of people to debate you on it. I know you've got Doghouse, who's very, very liberal-minded, and many other people. And I don't care if you're liberal, conservative, or whatever. You have your opinions about the show, but you let other people talk, and other people have bitched you out on the classic metal show and gave their point of views. You've never hung up on them. You've always remained, cordial with them, and they've called and everything. But when you use terms like that, dude, it just, to be honest, I hear so many great interviews. I was listening to the Dawkins interview and other stuff, and you feature interviews at other podcasts, and I will say Eddie Trunk is one of those because he's friendly with a lot of these bands. So being friends with someone like a Sammy Hagar or Michael Anthony, you're going to get a lot more out of the interviews. You guys do fantastic interviews. You do a lot of great debates and stuff. But when you say terms like nigger, it just makes you sound like an ignorant redneck.
It's okay to say, Bob. It makes us sound like ignorant niggers.
Jesus.
I mean, look, it's funny.
Hold on, Bob. You said this. I'm going to challenge this. So,
absolutely.
Should we fear the word then? Should we be afraid to say a word because it offends people?
No, it's not about afraid or offending. I'm just saying it. Okay, you know that. Oh, all right, let's take the term fag and faggots. And I've called you, hey, what's up, faggots? Whatever.
Well, that offends me every time you do that, Bob, but I just let it go because I have, I got broad shoulders. I can take it, but kind of hurts my feelings when you say that.
Well, I'm sorry about that, Neeley, and I do apologize, and that's what I'm calling about. I'm giving my sincere apology. But when you use that term, when you guys talk about, the guys today are such faggots, you refer to them as pussies. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. I mean, that was '80s term. Everyone used the term faggot. I mean, glam fags was universally used in the heavy metal industry, particularly people, which is ironic, in the Bay Area used to call the people in LA glam fags all the time. Oh, LA, you're glam flag. From Motley Crue to even Slayer, when Slayer wore makeup. I mean, just doing the thrash metal documentaries, you got a lot. They didn't mean they were homosexual. They meant they were pussies. So that is a little bit different when you say that. But when
hold on.
Let me finish here.
Oh, go ahead.
When you use the term nigger, that is universally a derogatory word. I don't care where you're from or what for the last 60, 70 years. Now, if it was 1930 and you're Dr. Seuss and you have a book out that was back in 1930, and what was the name of that book that you talked about?
Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss had some real racist stuff.
Yeah.
He had a real racist book, but you guys made a really good argument saying, look there was a thing, I think the story was they wanted to ban all Dr. Seuss books because all of a sudden he's this racist because he had a book title that had, I guess, the word nigger in it back in 1934.
Right.
And Chris made the argument, hey, back then it probably wasn't a bad word, so you can't say that he's a racist. And, when you bring up topics like that, or even the jigaboo thing, people listen to that and go, oh, that's so racist. I go, they're not being racist. They're bringing up a story that they've read about a teacher that named her students the jigaboo.
Right.
I mean, that's funny. Like, I don't know if she didn't know better, if she's that ignorant being a teacher, but and you were talking about the black kid goes home to his mom, hey, I played on the team jigaboo. That's a humor thing. But when you flat out, and I'll refer to, when I called in at the Metallica show, granted, I was a bit drunk. I had a few drinks.
What?
I believe it or not, yeah. But I wanted to call the show because I told you I'd call in and talk about the show. And I didn't even hear, I could barely hear on that phone. But I think you mentioned something and, hang him like a nigger or whatever when Toby was passing the phone over. And I just heard the podcast like a week and a half ago. And, it's a damn good thing I wasn't handing the phone to Lloyd Grant when you were saying that. But the fact that you're just saying that, it's like, it's not humorous. It's not a comedy thing. It's just, seems like you're just trying to be outrageous for really no apparent reason. And that's the same with that idiot that you always have on, Bob Leather. It's like he just uses the term to, and I get it. The society, and believe me, I am the number one person against political correctness. I agree with that, and I see it. People's views are, well, I'm going to be the anti that. I'm going to go so overboard the other way and just piss people off. But a lot of black people are offended by that word. You know that, and it's just something, and that's where, when it comes to that, dealing with, people that are handicapped and stuff like that have no choice, that's something I'm against. And I'm just pointing this out, and again, dude, I'm not saying you to change your show. I will continue to listen to the show. I find it funny. I know you guys aren't racist or homophobes because of what I just said. You've been supportive of all these artists, and I know being two white guys doing a radio show or any kind of comedian, you're going to get tons of shit thrown at you. I mean, if you're black, you could do as many racist jokes against white guys. If you're a woman, you could do as many jokes against men. But if you're a white guy that says it about any female, you're a sexist. If you know, you get that. I mean, we all get that, okay? But my point is, it just, when I hear all these intelligent discussions you have and great interviews, and then I hear, you know, the term nigger thrown around just, you know, for no reason, I'm just telling you, to me, it dumbs down the show.
All right, Bob. Well, next time I use the N-word,
easy.
I'll make sure I have a reason to use it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Again, dude, I'm just giving my opinion because, you know, it's funny because I like I said, I do support the show. I turn the show on to a lot of people, and I think as big as the show is, I think it could be so much bigger, have such a bigger audience. When I tell people about the show, check it out. Here's the link to Spreaker. Check out the episodes. I don't know if they just hear these Bob Leather episodes or what. They come back to me. I heard 40 seconds of the show and they're using the term nigger and this and that. It's like, no, you don't get it. You don't listen to the whole thing. And the reason why I will always back you guys up, because I've heard on the show, if you listen to the whole show, Neeley has said many times, it's about behavior. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with anything. And I know Chris said on one of the episodes, I know, Chris, you were in the military, and you said, you know what, it doesn't matter. If you're a woman, if you're black, if you're Latino, if you're gay, if you're in the military, it's a brotherhood. And you have everybody's back. And I think that's the same with the police force and everything else. You're human beings. It has nothing to do with race. You know, so I know when you say that, when you say terms like that and throw stuff like that out, you're being, you know, lighthearted and kind of joking around. But, you know, people do find it offensive, and for good reason, in a lot of situations, the way you guys use it. So anyway, I just wanted to say my piece. And
you know, Bob, women find the word cunt offensive.
That's true.
Universally. So should I stop saying that?
Well, if you're referring to a certain person, like a Hillary Clinton, I'm just saying, or somebody like that, but if you just throw it out there as
how about if I said how about if I said I would never
when you use the term cunt, it could mean a guy. You could say no, Nikki Sixx is a cunt. You know, because when you say the term nigger, you know it's referring to black people. You're not pointing out.
You know that. You know that.
Everyone knows it universally, dude. And look, again, I just wanted to say my piece because I wanted to call the show.
And we let you, but I'm going to fire back. Everybody knows if you call someone a cunt, you're referring to them as a bitchy woman. Universally.
Yeah, it could be. Or you could be joking around calling a guy a cunt or whatever.
Yeah, because he's acting like a bitchy woman.
Yeah. Well, then don't use the term cunt, though, if you're offended by it.
Here's the point, Bob. I'm going to make my point. And
woman and a derogatory. Yeah, cunt is a very it is derogatory to a lot of people, obviously. But, I mean, the British use it just as loosely as you use the term fag, you know. Yeah. And the British use the term fags as cigarettes, you know, or at least back in the day they used to. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, there are more of a meanings to those words than just the straight. I think you know the difference of what I'm saying.
Sure. No, I get what you're saying, Bob, but
listen, I'm not telling you to change anything.
Oh, don't worry, Bob. I'm not listening to you telling me to change it. Don't worry about that. What I'm saying is that I have a bigger picture, and one, I don't think I don't say nigger that much. I mean, I do on occasion, and I won't, you know, in the course of jokes and whatever. And I get your point. I will say this though: I will never fear words. If people can't handle the words, then don't fucking listen. It's that simple. You know, the biggest problem we have as a country right now, as a nation, is that everybody is looking for the reason to be upset, and everybody keeps it checking away, little piece here, little piece there. Can't say this anymore. Can't do this in a comedy club anymore. Can't do this on the radio anymore. Can't do this here and there. And we're not going to adjust to that. We're not going to do it.
I understand. That's not my point at all. That's not my point.
No, but I get what your point is, Bob, but your point is still playing into if we start doing the show and start saying, well, the N-word that was at the grocery store said blah blah blah. You know what we meant, and we know what we meant.
But the point I'm making is when you use that term, it completely dumbs down the show. It makes it, and I could give you different show. I mean, I could listen to Howard Stern, and when Howard Stern has this stupid, I haven't listened to Howard Stern in years, but when he was on E! and whatever, he does some of the best interviews ever of celebrities. I mean, the guy is brilliant. The guy's a genius. But when he does those stupid little skits with the, Stuttering John or, whoever's, his little flunkies or whatever, it is just fucking stupid. Or when he gets into the fart man thing. He was doing it for the same thing. Saying toilet humor back in the 90s or doing fart man on MTV was outrageous. To me, it's like, dude, you're an intelligent guy. You do great interviews. You're dumbing down the show. And again, this is just my opinion. Everyone loves Fart Man is what made him huge when he got banned from MTV. But I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This is shit we used to say in fucking third grade to each other. It's stupid stuff. And when somebody as intelligent as Howard Stern uses that, and I know why he uses it for popularity, because there's a lot of ignorant idiots that go, fuck yeah, Fart Man, Howard. That's what people knew Howard as. And that's the same reason people use terms that they do just for the reason to offend people, because they know I'm cutting edge, I'm against politically correctness, and doing it just for that reason. If you do it as a story, or if you talk about a story intelligently that deals with sensitive racial issues or the Confederate flag or any of this, look, when you do these stories, I'm all for it, and I'm just saying, to me, when you do the stuff on the Confederate flag and people say, anyone that owns Confederate flags are fucking Nazis, and you know what? Lemmy owned a whole fucking Nazi collection, probably the biggest Nazi collection in the world. Half these guys that say this stuff are the biggest Motorhead fans. You know, a lot of people say, hey, Lemmy was Nazi. Lemmy wasn't a Nazi. Lemmy was not a racist. I know the guy. He's a historian. He likes, history. I get when
right, Bob,
say that.
Bob, let me
100% get into that.
Stop right there for a second, Bob. Stop right there for a second, Bob, because I want to make a point based on your point. Lemmy was collecting Nazi memorabilia, and Lemmy was labeled a Nazi because of it, which people consider to be ignorant, but you're saying that it's okay because it was Lemmy.
No, I'm saying people are ignorant for thinking he's a Nazi.
Okay, but well, then the same applies if they think something about us because they hear a word they don't like. Same thing.
No, well, I disagree, because this is being...
What's worse? What's worse, Bob? Labeling somebody with a word that's offensive or killing 6 million Jews?
No.
What's worse? What's worse? You
think every history teacher, every collector, Lemmy's collection is worth about $1 million. And he's proud of it. I've never seen. I know a lot of people that went to his house. Mm-hmm. I know black people that went to his house, Jewish people that went to his house. He was open about it. This is, it's not like he's hiding it in his closet. But the fact is, everybody loves Lemmy still. I'm just saying the hypocrisy of this liberal mindset. Okay, but I got no problem. I'm not offended when you use the N word. I'm not going to turn off the show or this and that. But I'm just thinking, it just dumbs down the show to me. That's my whole thing. And when you said it in the in the vicinity of the interview we were doing, it's like I didn't hear it because he was passing the phone around. But if I, like I said, handed it to Lloyd or another black musician or something, I mean, that would be I would feel embarrassed, and they go, what the fuck is this guy? Is he talking about me? I mean, what is this? I mean, it's just pointless to just throw the word out there to be hip or to be anti-edgy. I'm cool. You don't need that. Your show is fucking cool. Your show is intelligent. Your show, when you guys have a chemistry together on certain things, I don't think anyone can beat you guys. I think it's brilliant. So I'm very critical. You know, I'm a critique when it comes to music, and I'm not shy to say it. I mean, and I appreciate. I mean, you guys could have hung up on me. I mean, if you were one of these very liberal-minded guys, you would hang up and say, "Fuck you! You don't agree with us? Fuck you! Don't ever call us your band. I'm banning you. I'm deleting you from Facebook. Racist, Trump supporter. Fuck you!" You know, you could easily say that shit. But the fact that you haven't hung up on me shows that, you know, you are open to what I'm saying, which that alone is cool. So I'm just giving you my opinion. You know I've known you for many years, and you know, it just strikes me that when people hear this, they don't give you guys a chance, because that's my point that I was actually trying to make. If they were to take the time, and you know, today's society, people want the instant fix. When people see a podcast or something on Blabbermouth, they don't even bother listening to the podcast before they make their comments. They'll listen to so-and-so's slag so-and-so, so-and-so slam so-and-so, what an asshole, what a dick, you know. And when you say terms like that, most people are just going to go, this is stupid. They're not going to listen through to hear you make comments about, no, it's about behavior, because it almost voids all that when you say something that ignorant, because that's the way ignorant people speak.
Mm-hmm. And our numbers back exactly the opposite of that, Bob. We're the biggest at what we do.
Well, I think you could be bigger, but you know, again, it's not for me. You know, I'm just saying this as an opinionated asshole, and that's what I am, another asshole with an opinion. But
well, let's all sing in unison. All he is saying is give CMS a chance.
I hear you. But you know what I'll say, and a lot of stuff, when I do disagree with stuff, because I take the time to listen through the show, and there's certain things when you talk about death or whatever, and yeah, I mean, Neely's a cold-hearted motherfucker. I mean, Chris is always the asshole, right? Chris is but Chris has some sensibility when it comes out to it. He's kind of sensitive. But when it comes to like making fun of people that have died, or making fun of you know, the handicap or whatever, when, you know, like you made that I don't know what episode it was, but you were talking about people that have passed away, and you have no sympathy for someone that drinks himself to death or that takes his life and blah blah blah, and you know, it was right after the person died. And I was like, I'm thinking, wow, this is kind of cold. But then you know, you come back and you say something very interesting. I think Chris said, yeah, I'm just being honest. I'm saying my honest opinion, and I hate being a fucking hypocrite, because I see all these motherfuckers on all these news sites, whether it's Blabbermouth or whatever, motherfucker, just kill yourself, you fucking drug addict asshole, fuck you. And then after the guy dies, oh, bro, rest in peace, bro, we love you, man. You're up there in heaven playing with, what's his name? The
Linkin Park guy?
No, the guy you always talk about. I was trying to make a reference that you said, if you ever use that term about me after I pass away.
Oh, Brian Badass Boone.
Badass Boone. But anyways, that is so true, and I go, wow, you know, it's like, and when you were talking about, I believe either Chris Cornell or Chester on one of the things, it was like, man, you know, it's getting real harsh. And then Neely gave like a speech at the end of what he thought about people that take their own lives. And I'm thinking, wow, this is actually what these people need to hear. They don't want you act sympathetic to them. They need a fucking wake-up call. They need a slap in the fucking face. You know, it's like people that go, oh, man, I feel sorry, I pity you. That's going to make them feel worse. Oh, dude, just take your job. You got to say, dude, wake the fuck up. Get off your fucking ass. And I'll say, you know, and Chris has been very open about this in his book. You were suicidal for some time.
Sure.
After the whole stuff. And I had no idea during the time when Neely was doing the show. Neely just kept telling me he's got issues family issues and marriage issues. I had no idea. And when I heard about it, after I read your book, I go, Chris, you motherfucking pussy. You hypocritical. I really think it. You keep calling all these other guys out there fucking pussies when you're weaker than any of these fuckers. And being a friend, I would say, dude, get off your fucking... And I actually said this to a friend of mine that broke up with a girl. He was dating for like 8 years. He was cheating on her all the time. But once she broke up with him, he was heartbroken. For weeks, months maybe. And I told that fucker, get your fucking piece of shit, pussy asshole, get off your fucking ass. That's what true friends do. Not, oh, bro, just take your time. Because people love... Misery loves company. And if people are miserable, they want to see you miserable themselves. If you're a true friend, you would get them out of that slump. And that's the thing with any kind of depression, drugs. And I know a lot about that. I don't want to get into that. But that I applaud you guys for certain things like that. And that's why I'm bringing this up. Because when you do stuff like that, and then you start, and I get it, getting into silly mode. Hey, I do that too. I did it when half the time I call in. And it doesn't matter. People tell me, oh, you're 50 years old, you're a documentarian in the business, you're acting all silly. Like, hey, fuck you. I do that. When I go to metal shows, I'll go with the front row. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what people say. I'm with you 100% on that issue. I'm just saying, to me, it just kind of dumbs down the show. Because I'm like, oh, man, they go through all this intelligent stuff, and then they kind of dumb it down by, just throwing in the word, hey, nigger, and it's just like, it's not like used as a joke or as it's not a joke. It's just, you're just throwing it around. And that, to me, cheapens the CMS. I'll just end it as that. And, you could disagree with me. I'm totally cool with that. I'm not going to, oh, fuck these guys. I'm not offended. I'm still a huge fan of the show, and I always will back you up. But I just wanted to say my piece there.
All right, Bob. Your 2 cents has been well, actually, it's 2.5 cents. You're pretty much going on a long rant here, but let's get to some more important stuff. What's going on with the documentaries? Where are you at? What can we expect coming up here soon? What are you working on, and what's the next release? And where's my copies? I haven't seen them yet.
Well, fuck you, dude. I'm taking all your shit out now because I've been told you're a racist, homophobe. Fuck you now. Actually, the Band vs. Brand, we are editing now. The unfortunate, well, not really unfortunately, but the Rise of LA Thrash Metal has been pushed back to January 19th now. And for reasons I don't know, I think it has to do with the distributor. They wanted to wait after the holidays. It's always a tough time to push it toward the end of the year. It was supposed to come out November 3rd, but now it's coming out on January 19th. So we might do a couple other just small screenings in LA just to tide people over for that and just to keep the buzz going. So that's good. The Band vs. Brand movie is looking really good, and so that's in the editor's hands now. We're going to get onto that before we do the San Francisco one, because the San Francisco one is very involved. And seeing that the Rise of LA Thrash Metal has been delayed, I know Warren's not going to want to release it so soon after the LA Thrash Metal one, since it's on the same company, same label. It's a part of the Inside Metal series, obviously. But the Band vs. Brand is actually completely separate. That's the Cleopatra. And I'm hoping that will come out hopefully spring of 2018. And we've got some good footage of you in that, Neeley. You'll be happy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Indeed.
All right. Well,
guys, my manager's telling me, get off the phone with these racist homophobes. But I just wanted to call in. Love the show. Always will support you guys. But thanks for taking my 2 cents. And hey, if you think I'm an asshole, so be it. I'm totally cool with that as well.
Well, you may be an asshole, Bob, but you're our asshole.
Yeah, but you're the biggest assholes on the internet.
Well, so I got a big dose of Perfect 7 for you, my friend.
Ah, there you go. I might hit you up on that. All right, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right, Bob.
Bye, Bob.
Enjoy. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, hand job.
And there goes Bob Nalbandian.
Well, how about that?
Well, Bob had a few things to say. He had a head full of steam.
I guess. My goodness.
We apparently offended some of his compadres when they were passing the phone around a few weeks ago.
I don't even remember anything. If I remember right, that was the show when I was in the hospital parking lot.
I think it might have been. I'm not positive. Hail and kill, Carl. You're on the air.
Bob rules.
Yes,
Bob,
yes, Tim. Bob does rule.
He is. I love that bloke. He's amazing.
You got half a stock listening to Bob there, Tim?
Man, I love Bob. He's the most sincere guy, and he clearly loves you guys.
There's a lot of love in the room, Tim. I get a little nervous when I hear love come out of your mouth 2, 3, 4 times, and your voice gets high and it starts to crackle.
Oh, well, don't worry, Neeley. I want a meal, not a snack.
God damn, Tim.
I'm just calling. It's only a quick call. I'm calling in to say I reckon Chris is going to start walking worse than me. I reckon we need to get Chris a wheelchair.
But
how's your? Are you still limping around?
All right, Tim. Thank you so much for calling. It's really appreciated tonight, my friend.
All right. And it's also, I've been celebrating all week the 30th anniversary of Girls, Girls, Girls. I love that DVD. It kicks serious ass. All right. Hail and kill.
So, Chris, are you still limping around? Are you still like in a knee brace?
I guess you're gonna have to wait till Monday to find out.
How's that going for you, Chris?
I guess you're gonna have to wait till Monday for the exciting conclusion of Is Chris Walking?
I think that's gonna be a new HBO series. Chris Walking.
All right.
Wow.
We're off.
Well, I wasn't anticipating, the show open to be as in depth as it was, but just watch your language over there, Mr. Aiken, and that goes for you too, Phil Ooze. You watch your language over there, pal, and that goes for you too, Norge.
Somehow, I think if we do a count, I don't think I'm going to be number 1 on the top of that list.
Right. But if we did a count of cunt, I think you would be number 1 on that list.
Well, I might be the world record holder on that one.
Yes, absolutely. So why don't you just kind of curb that a little bit, mister?
All right, C-word. You can call me N-word, and I'll call you C-word.
Right.
Stupid C-word.
Yeah, pal.
You effing C-word, you.
I love it. All right, I take it that the Here I Go Again guy didn't get back to you this week either.
No, I have not heard from him. I don't know what happened.
I guess he must have just decided his point wasn't important enough to come on the show.
Maybe he thinks we're racist.
We could be racist.
Could be. Maybe that's why he backed out suddenly. I don't know.
I'm not being associated with that racist show.
Yeah, Bob Nalbandian told me better.
Right. Nice. All right. Well, I think it's time to take a break. We're already in an hour in.
Wow. That was fast.
It was a fast hour.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you say? You got something on mind that you'd like us to play?
I do, actually. I have been listening to a band.
Yes.
Called Wraith. Have you listened to them yet?
Does that star Charlie Sheen?
No. It stars whoever these guys are. But it's something done with Michael Wagner. The name of the album is Revelation.
Yeah, I don't have it downloaded.
Are you kidding me?
I have the email. I didn't pull it down though.
All right.
I'll pull it down during the break.
All right. What about the Apocalyptic Lovers? Do you have theirs?
Let me see here.
That's from an older batch.
Oh, I probably do have it, but it's not in this file that I'm looking at.
Let me see. I'm looking through my list here. How about some Eternal Legacy?
Okay, let me take a look. I'm going to have to gather all this stuff since it came in like 3 different folders. Yes, I have that.
All right, let's go with Seeking No Peace.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I think we've made that very clear in that last phone call that we are seeking no peace here, pal. We're going to keep it stirred up.
Yeah, pal.
Yeah. All right, everybody go get a drink. We're going to play a couple tunes. We'll be back, and we'll do some more stuff. So here it is. This is Eternal Legacy. This comes from their Seeking No Peace release, and this is the title track exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.